folks on the call might not know what the option period is. I think that when folks receive a lease offer, the belief might be, oh, I'm getting a solar farm as soon as I sign this lease offer. Joette, would you mind explaining how the lease option works, how it's not a done deal yet?
Sure. So on the lease option, it's basically the developer's chance to do due diligence. So they do some of it in advance and they try to figure out transmission, substations, viability of the project, if they can lease it at a price that would work for their bid and their plan, their proposal that they'll submit to whichever company it is, whether it's Excel or someone beyond that. Tri-Corners Connectors is another one that's in this area that is trying to put deals together for the power line that'll run from Pueblo, Colorado to Guyman, Oklahoma. So there's a variety of power providers and companies that are putting in these transmission lines. So the lease period is typically 5 years. It's not always, but that's kind of the standard. In all the offers I received, they were usually a base 5-year lease option. So they lease it and do their due diligence and hang on through the process. That's when they start submitting proposals, bids, try to line up and get a queue in the transmission line, which means availability to produce energy and put it into the line. There's not always queue in pre-existing lines. So with Power's Pathway being a new line, there are queues available. So that's what everyone's scrambling to try and get in priority to, claim one of those queues or to be able to speak for it. Then they also have options to extend. So sometimes they're like 2 1-year periods to extend that option period, the upfront due diligence period, and sometimes it's 2 2-year periods. It really varies from renewable developer to developer. They change their minds, or they just change the rules according to their company plan and what their proposals are. After that, you would go into the development period, which some people call construction. Everyone has different terms for it, which is also really fun to kind of figure out all the different terms as you're reading through the offers. It's usually about a two-year phase. So they say 18 to 24 months to construct. And that's when they put steel in the ground and start setting up panels and things. And then they go into the production phase. And that is when it starts producing and there's different payments for this. So during the lease period, it's usually anywhere from like $10 to $50 an acre. And then during the construction period, most of the people I worked with offered about half of what they offered for the production period. And then the production period is typically 40 years. I had some offer 50, some offer 30 with 2 5-year extensions, but the 40 years is kind of the golden number. 35 years minimum if you want to sell off your payments in one lump sum up front and do a 1031 exchange into another property at a discounted rate. So there's a lot to it, but basically what I had seen was 50% of the production rate is the construction rate, and the production rates were anywhere from like $500 to $1,200 per year. So you really had to pick and choose who you wanted to work with and what you were going to get paid.
Absolutely. That was a great explanation, very thorough. You learned so much, Joette. Thank you. And one thing you pointed out that the offers you receive are between 500 and 1,200. One thing I want to mention is this is the region that Joette was working in. Depending on what region you are in, like in Maryland, for instance, I've heard of 2,500 per acre because there's less land, there's more incentive. So depending on where you are in the nation, those numbers will scale differently. Just wanted to give that caveat. Now,